Billy Harvey.
Hey there, this is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
What's up everybody, Jacob from the Big News.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Check me out at Almost Famous Magazine.
Buzzing from our clips to be dropping on Almost Famous Magazine.
Check out Almost Famous Magazine.
You can find more clips from my interview with Almost Famous Magazine.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Almost Famous Magazine, and I'm very excited to introduce a young up-and-coming artist today who has a very impressive journey to where she is now. And if you take a look, it looks like she's in a soundproof room, could be a studio, and we'll get to that in a couple minutes because she is going to be the next big thing you just watched. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming back. Please subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, put them down below. But let me introduce to you Mia McIntosh. She began her musical journey, as I understand it, we're going to go through it today, playing around with GarageBand, which took her to her first single, and she's had numerous releases since then, some singles and EPs. She's on the verge of a brand new release coming up pretty soon, so I'm excited to learn about that, as well as her musical journey. So Mia, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to learning a lot about you. I'm always interested, right? You've had a relatively short career so far, and when you were young, something sparked your interest to start getting creative with music. Tell us about that. What inspired you, and what is that creative spark that really got you going to become a musical creator?
Well, I had been surrounded by music my entire life. I used to listen to it all the time when I was a kid, and I started taking piano lessons when I was 5, and then I joined the church choir and started taking voice lessons. So I started being part of the musical world when I was a kid, and then when I was in elementary school, I saw one of my classmates using GarageBand on a computer, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. And so I started using it myself, and I released my first single when I was in high school. When I was in 9th grade, I was 15.
Awesome. Tell us about your first single.
My first single was called Yesterday, and I wrote it when I was 14 or 15, and I used GarageBand to create it. And now I've moved more towards Logic, but I used to use GarageBand when I produced stuff, and that was my first release. And then my second release was called In Your Eyes, and then they were I think they were released together. So those were the first things that I ever put out.
What ignites your passion to create? Right, we all have different things that drive us and motivate us. How about for you? What are those things for you?
I usually, when I think about creating, I take something that's important to me and I try to make it into something that sounds really beautiful and sounds really profound, and that some people can relate to. I think I usually think about, maybe something that has happened in my life or something that's happening around me, and I think about how I can take it and make it into something that resonates with people. And so sometimes I look back on stuff that's happened to me recently, or things that I'm hearing about, in the world, and it inspires me to sit down and turn those things into songs, I guess. That's what inspires me to be creative, taking something and making it into something that sounds beautiful.
So let me ask you this, and we had alluded to it earlier, and I hear some music in the background. I think I might hear someone playing clarinet. You started your musical journey using GarageBand, taking some piano lessons, but now you're at the Berklee School of Music. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm currently studying at Berklee College of Music in Boston, and it's my first year. This is my second semester.
How is getting enrolled at Berklee kind of changed and elevated your musical abilities and the things that you've learned as you're starting to write more music?
Well, you're surrounded by music, and I think that's awesome. I'm in a practice room right now because it's soundproof, and there are a bunch of other ones near me. And so you can just walk around and hear people playing music, and there's so many opportunities to go see your friends perform. And you know, you have a lot of opportunities to perform yourself and record with people. And I think that's definitely made me, it's inspired me to try to get out there more, and it's inspired me to create more because I'm surrounded by people who are also creating. They're writing and recording and trying to make a name for themselves, and that's, I think, very motivating because it makes you want to do the same thing as well.
What has being at Berklee done to provide influence to expand your musical horizons? Because you're seeing all your friends playing music, you're going to classes, you're exposed to this. How are hearing so many different styles and genres of music having an impact on you?
Uh, I think they're impacting maybe the way I'm singing and what I'm thinking about with my next releases, because I've been writing a lot, and hopefully my next releases have some influence with a lot of other genres. Because at Berklee, I mean, I think it's a 40% international student body. So you're listening to people singing in a lot of other languages. You're hearing genres from a bunch of different countries. And as you might know, Berklee started as a jazz school in 1945. So when I attended the summer program, I started singing more jazz. And I think that, I first envisioned myself as just a pop singer, but I've been getting into doing both now. And I I think that maybe in the future that will come through in my music, depending on what I'm writing while I'm at school. So I think that would be really interesting.
No, absolutely. I look forward to hearing some of that. Now, you've got a single coming out soon. We'll talk about it in a moment. But I was listening earlier to I believe it's your last single, which is what, Stoplights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was your last single,
Yeah.
Stoplights? I'm always interested in learning that creative process from that initial spark and idea through the final production. Can you kind of walk us through the germination and growth of that song from start to release?
Well, I wrote it when I was a sophomore in high school, and I was at a summer program. I was at the Interlochen Arts Camp, and I don't know if you've heard that much about it. It's in Michigan, and I think I don't remember, it started as like just a summer camp for people to play music, and then it expanded with a songwriting program. So that's what I did, and they would give us some prompts that they wanted us to write about. The first one was like a story song, and this one I think was I don't remember what this one was, but it was the second one that they gave us, and I think it had something to do with emotions and something very powerful. So I decided to write something very powerful, and it made me think about like things that other people are dealing with in their lives, and it made me think about whether I could write something that people were relating to. So the song is basically about being very empathetic towards people and making sure that people are okay, and it's basically a call to check on people that you love and make sure that they're doing fine, because then it shows that you care about them. So that's what I was thinking when I wrote it. And then I went into the studio and recorded it. And last year we made the music video, and so that's been the process. And I hope people are listening to it and it resonates with them and they enjoy it.
I enjoyed listening to it. Now, you have a new single dropping in just a few weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah. It's called Sunday Morning, and it's not a Maroon 5 cover or anything. It just has the same title. Um, but I wrote that at summer camp as well, and it's I think that it's supposed to evoke nostalgia, and it's just very. I would say the production is pretty minimal. It's just piano and singing and some backing vocals. That's basically it, or keyboard and vocals and stuff. So that's it's I'm really excited to release it. There's going to be 4 songs on the EP, and yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for people to hear it because it's been a while since I wrote it, and I think that this is the right time to release it. So I'm excited.
Excellent. Excellent. If I was in the Boston area, hypothetically speaking, are you performing out anywhere around Boston these days?
I've been performing at school a little bit. I I have a performance coming up in a few days actually, so that's really exciting. And I have a band now with my friends, and we've been trying to get some gigs and stuff around the city. I started a jazz band, and so that's been really exciting as well. And I'm just excited to like get out there more and have more performances that people can come to, because that would be really fun. Berkeley is a really great place, so you can get out there more and have a lot of opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. Well, hey, if you're in the Boston area, anybody, be on the lookout for Mia McIntosh, so you can go check her out. Um, we all take things in our lives, right? We hear things, we see what people are doing, and those become influences creatively. Who are 3 or 4 people who have had an impact on you creatively as creative influences, whether it's in music or other forms of art, but 3 or 4 people that have influenced you in your creativity?
So the first one I would say is Billie Eilish, because I think that she's a very good songwriter, and I just love her voice, and I think that her songs are very relatable, and she's been able to touch a lot of people. Um, the second one I would say, I think maybe Joan Baez. I really love her voice as well, and I like that um, her songs are about things that are very important to people. People listen to her songs and they're like, wow, these it's so important that somebody is bringing these issues to light, because that's her trademark. And I think that's very noble. And I think the third one is Amy Winehouse. Again, beautiful voice and a great songwriter. I think that her lyrics are very poetic, and she just inspires me. I'm just like in awe of her. I love listening to her because I think that her voice just captures a lot of jazz and pop and soul, and I think that she could just do so many things, which is crazy.
No, she was truly a tremendous voice for sure. It's interesting. I was looking at your Instagram, right? And it looks like
Mhm.
you're very kind of open and posting things about your life and the things that you see, right? People should definitely be following you. Are some of those posts things that you pull inspiration from? Are you sharing those stories to capture them to turn them into your music? Kind of what's your focus on some of the things that you post on your socials?
Sometimes when I post on my socials, I'm trying to talk about things that do inspire me. Yeah, there was one post that I made that was about writing a song in a different language, because since getting to Berkeley, I've been listening to some stuff in other languages, and I think it would be really interesting to. There isn't anything like that coming up on this EP, but I think that it would be really cool to incorporate that into my work in the future. So there's one post, that talks about the songwriting process, but specifically in another language, and it's about how I would listen to some music that was kind of the vibe that I was going for in that language. And I think that that would be a really interesting thing to do for one of my next projects, I guess, because again, it's a 40% international student body, and it's so inspiring to listen to all these genres in different countries and be immersed in different cultures and listen to music in other languages, because their lyrics in other languages are so beautiful. And I think that would be so interesting to include in my work.
It's interesting you mentioned that. We had a guest on recently, Thorsten Willer, who the first time I saw him perform was in Germany, and he wasn't singing in English. And
Hmm.
during his set, he sang one song in English specifically to my friend and I, who he had met earlier in the day. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Holy cow, beautiful music in German!" But when I heard his
Mm-hmm.
voice in English, it was just transformative. And now he's doing English language albums. So yes, definitely, I think different languages add things and textures and sounds and flavors to music, um, that you can use to be more creative, and also use it to really formulate some awareness to you as a musician, right? And
Mm-hmm.
use it in that way. Um, I'm curious. I'm always curious, because those of us who love music are usually listening to it. You probably have a number of different Spotify playlists. And although people should go and download your music today, find you on Spotify, we're going to talk about where everybody can find you in a moment. But who are a few artists? Doesn't have to be anybody, it could be a huge celebrity. It could be just someone local that that you're really starting to dig and you put on your playlist. But who are a few artists that you're listening to right now and why?
I would definitely say the aforementioned Billie and Amy Winehouse. And also, I really like Olivia Rodrigo. I think that she's also very good with her writing is just very creative. And I mean, she has a great voice. And I've been listening to her because I think that she is able to take things that we all relate to and put them into a song that just is very catchy and that sticks with us. And I think that's really awesome. Because I think a lot of times it's hard to take something that you relate to and make it so beautiful. There's definitely a process to that. So I admire her very much. And at one point, I would like to see her live someday because she inspires me a lot. I've been listening to her.
That's great. That's great. Now, I think I might know the answer to this question, but I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball. Everybody talks about having bucket lists in life, right? Got to have a bucket list. Do you have any bucket list musicians that if you had a chance to collaborate with, you'd love to just have the opportunity to make some music with them? Who might they be?
Do they have to still be alive or?
No, we can talk about someone who may not longer be alive that you admire or that you think would be great to collaborate with. Absolutely. But who would those people be that if you had a chance to get in a room with them and create, who might some of those be?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, realistically, somebody who's still alive, I would say probably Paul Simon, because I think his discography is just very eclectic. I think that, his albums are all so different to each other, and he's just a great writer. His lyrics are beautiful. It would be so amazing to be able to collaborate with him because I've been listening to his music since I was a kid. That would just be a great opportunity. Yeah.
Wow. Anyone else?
Joan Baez. I think that would be, I I don't even know if I'd be able to handle that. I would be like, "Oh my gosh, is this real? Is this happening?" But that would be amazing. She inspires me so much and I love listening to her. I think that she has the best voice and I love that she sings in different languages. She's sung in Spanish, French, Portuguese, maybe German. I'm in awe of her.
So now let's tell everybody, where can we find you? Like, what are some of your social handles? Where do you put most of your content? Let's get everybody, give everyone the ability to go out and find you and follow you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at McIntosh Music, and then I'm also on Twitter at Mia McOfficial, and then you can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and any other any other streaming platform.
That's great. And like I said, we're talking today because she has a new single coming up. So go take a look at her prior releases and get excited about her new release just in the next possibly few weeks. Maybe by the time that we air this, it'll be out. Mia, it has been great meeting you. I wish you all the best and success. Have a great time at Berklee. You're at a great school that a lot of very prominent artists come out of. So hopefully you're on that list at some point. And great luck with the new release.
Thank you very much. It was great to do this. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.